Welcome to Black and White Cairo Ministries, where Christ is meeting you in a personal view. I'm Father John. It's good to have you with us once again here in the season of Epiphany. We're going to pick up from the Gospel according to St. John, the first chapter, beginning at the 43rd verse. So this is a story about Nathaniel being called by Jesus, and we're going to learn what it means to be called out. So let us read. The next day, Jesus decided to go to Galilee. He found Philip and said to him, "Follow me." Now Philip was from Bethsaida, the city of Andrew and Peter. Philip found Nathanael and said to him, "We have found him about whom Moses in the law and also the prophets wrote, Jesus, son of Joseph from Nazareth." Nathanael said to him, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" Philip said to him, "Come and see." When Jesus saw Nathanael coming toward him, he said to him, "Here is truly an Israelite in whom there is no deceit." Nathanael asked him, "Where did you get to know me?" Jesus answered, "I saw you under the fig tree before Philip called you." Nathanael replied, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God, you are the King of Israel." Jesus answered, "Do you believe because I told you that I saw you under the fig tree? You will see greater things than these." And he said to him, "Very truly I tell you, you will see heaven opened and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man." Amen. There are these two guys, and they're not too bright, but they love to go ice fishing. So they went and they found their location. They found the perfect place on the ice. They cut a hole. They put their poles in. They sat down. At that moment, they heard a voice from above that said, "There are no fish here." They were startled by this. They jumped up. They looked around. They looked to the left, the right. They looked up. They had no idea where the voice came from. But they believed that perhaps there was some wisdom to that voice, and they decided to go and pick another spot. So they moved a little further down on the ice. They found another place. They cut a hole. They sat down, put their poles in, began fishing. Next thing they hear is a loud, booming voice. "There are no fish here." At this time, they're really startled. And once again, they're starting to think that maybe this is the voice of God. So they picked up and they found another location on the ice. They dug a hole. They put their poles in. They sat down. Once more, they heard a big, booming voice. "There are no fish here." And with this, they looked up into the sky and they said, "God, is that you?" And the voice came from above, "No, this is the skating rink manager. There are no fish here." I don't know, I like to find humor in all these stories and how they relate to God. Sometimes we get stuck on the ice in the wrong place and we're really not following God's will. Nathanael was under a fig tree, and there was obviously a moment where he knew it was God's voice calling from above. He knew he wasn't doing the right things. He knew he wasn't in the right place. And God called him out. Later, as he is now coming to meet Jesus, he's being told by Philip that this is the one that Moses wrote about, the prophets wrote about. Nathanael, inquisitive even further, although he was called out, he's now with his friend. He's not sharing with him the story of what happened under the fig tree. And he said, "This man's from Nazareth." Well, nothing good comes from Nazareth. Certainly not the future one who'd be strong enough to overturn the powers of Rome, overturn all the struggles within the church, the temple. How could anything good come out of Nazareth? As he gets closer, Jesus approaches him with Andrew and the other disciples, and he said to him, "Now here is an Israelite to where there is no deceit." Nathanael, curious by that saying because of his prior experience, he said, "How do you know this?" And Jesus says, "Because I saw you when you were under the fig tree." Completely disclosed he was to God, and from this he felt God's presence. Jesus must be who he claimed to be. And Jesus said, "You're going to see a lot more than this. You're going to see angels ascending and descending from heaven, and you'll know then who God truly is." Jesus is becoming revealed to his disciples through these types of interactions where he calls them out, calls them by name. calls him in an intimate and personal way. This story is very equivalent to the story of young Samuel, who was an apprentice to the priest Eli in the temple, and he hears God's voice, Samuel, Samuel, and he's not sure who it is. And finally he realizes, after 3 times of waking up his teacher Eli, that this was truly God's voice. Have there been encounters that you've had? Perhaps you've been fishing on the ice in the wrong place, where God has called you by your name. He knows exactly where you've been in your life. He knows of your lostness. He knows of your patience, perhaps. There you are, waiting for God to call you. What is my purpose, oh God? Why am I here? I believe God continues to call upon those who believe in Him. I believe that God continues to call upon those who are faithful and ask for His help. Jesus came into this world to save sinners, every single one of us, every single one of the individuals in the Bible, all sinners. We all share that. We all come short of the glory of God. Today, heed His calling as He calls you by name and discerns you from afar. Listen to His voice. Amen. Let's see, what are some good things we can talk about today? Well, let's make it an application. Has there been a time in your life where you were under a tree or somewhere else on a skating rink, perhaps, and you felt that God was calling you out, that He was calling your name and saying, this is what I want in you. I want you to come and do this. Tell me how that turned out for you. As always, I look forward to hearing your answers here on Black and White Cairo Ministries. And as always, go forth in the name of Christ.